Good.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome to the March 2026 regular board meeting. We are gonna go ahead and go into executive session. When we go into executive session, we usually seek legal advice. We will not make any decisions in executive session. We'll come out, if we need to vote on anything, we'll vote in our public meeting. So we are now in executive session. Yeah, this one we're gonna go in to executive session for 12A and B.
Okay.
And Crystal, just be on standby in case we need to
Absolutely.
bring you in.
Okay.
You do it register.
Okay, so we are back in, the public meeting, no decisions were made, we'll discuss it when we get to the, agenda item, I guess, but we're not voting on anything right now. Okay, are there any citizens' communication? Oh, great. Hey,
Yes, thank you very much.
So, yeah, I arrived a little late, I was just on my walk, figured I'd drop in, don't know what you guys wanna talk about, so maybe for a minute, I don't know, but, so I shared some of the concerns expressed on social media regarding the rising expenses and delays associated with the playscape. Case in point, last month, the board approved an expense for the sealing of the wood, an expense that is likely to become routine or annual. Therefore, I implore the board to ensure that the project is completed on time and under budget with no additional expenses or cost overruns, holding the contractor to the original agreed upon scope of work and cost. Moving on, a decision on the graffiti, another expense, should be tabled until the board can evaluate other less expensive alternatives. For example, elephant snot, a product used by the National Park Service to remove graffiti or painting, could be considered. You may also consider painting over the graffiti. Those are just some ideas to consider. My concern is that we will spend tens of thousands of dollars only for it to happen again. Considering that it may happen again, one wild idea is the creation of a designated graffiti wall to afford kids an approved place to paint. Lastly, consider any form of regular contracted trash pickup. And by that, I mean, I don't know if that exists, but when I refer to that, I'm referring to like on my walks or runs, I'll see a guy in an ATV and he's, emptying the trash bins from the dog waste and he's also picking up trash. So when I say contracted trash pickup, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I'd recommend that sort of occur, especially the day before any scheduled landscaping. And reason being is that mowers are spreading the trash with their mowers, creating micro trash, which is more difficult and time consuming to collect. So just some ideas.
okay, great.
Yeah.
We are going to cover several of those items, so are you gonna be able to stick around?
I'll listen
Okay,
on my walk.
okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again.
Bye-bye.
Okay, safety share, sorry about that, Lovato, what do you got?
Oh, man. Let's see. Great, now my mind just went blank.
What about, I know we're gonna talk about park rules and CTWs, and I know we had a couple incidents with dirt bikes on the trails.
Okay, when you see something like that, just call the sheriff's office. I know that, they can't enforce mud rules, but if a disturbance is ensuing, obviously you can call the sheriff's office for that. If you see them riding around on the roads, you can call the sheriff's office for that because that is now a traffic violation, not a HOA or mud rule. But just please don't confront them.
Yeah.
Call the sheriff's office.
Okay, and with that, if you guys read your packet, we have the deputy reports, the daily deputy reports, and I'm just gonna ask you, I know you know this, to remind your deputies that they do not have to call residents back. No resident should be calling a deputy on their cell phone number. I will tell you that even the subcommittee, we don't call you. We have a different way of communicating with you, but I understand that a former director called one of your deputies to report something, and he said that he called her back. And we don't wanna do that because former directors don't know the policies necessarily or the rules or things that we have discussed as a subcommittee, so they are not obligated to do that, okay? Great, thank you. Okay, Jim with Nebraska Farm to Mart, did he have anything?
He did not mention anything.
Okay, alright, fantastic. I do know that we had a chase, from South Austin, and it ended here, but my understanding was one of the cops ran into a Nebraska Furniture Mart, or that project of construction. Oh, okay.
That was APD. That was.
Yeah, I know Amanda posted the link on it, but I think he's okay, so that's
Was
good.
that the 2:30 a.m.
Yes.
thing with the helicopter waking me up and the weird sound?
Okay, Sandy,
Right through.
Black House Owners Association.
We skip minutes.
Oh, yes, okay, I'm sorry, guys. Approval of February 25th minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
I will abstain, because I was not here.
Motion,
Oh, sorry, I'll move to approve.
second,
Okay, so we have 3
All those in
ayes,
favor, yeah?
one abstain, and 1 non-vote.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Now I will follow this. Sandy, and please pause on the grand opening information. We don't need to discuss that right now.
I don't have any information.
Okay.
This Saturday, March 28th, is Shred Day. It's from 9 to noon at Tonkawa. There's no limit. We had a guy one time bring like 20 years of office supplies and stuff. So we take it and the Shred guy takes it and everybody's happy. So that's this Saturday. Then April 4th is the Easter egg hunt. And it is actually, last year we did it at the elementary school in the parking lot. We're gonna do the same thing this year.
Great.
As far as I know, that's what we're gonna do. And it's from 10 to 12, although the eggs will be gone long before that. And there's 3 categories of ages. So the little guys, the middle kids, and then the older kids. And then May, just because we've already started on it, is an adult event at the garden. It's a mead tasting. We originally started it with a wine tasting, but we found somebody that does mead. So that's on the 16th of May. That's all I have.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, back to Deputy Lovato and Wilco update.
Nothing really new, other than, we caught a guy dumping illegal brush in Jumano. I was able to get him to come and pick it up. Kind of a funny story of how I got him to do it, but you'll see it in my report. There was 2 other calls that I answered that day, nothing major. I think one was a 911 hang up, but reading the guy's reports, still not really a lot, which is good, obviously. But no, nothing major.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Okay, Premier, do we have Mark on the phone? Or online?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry about that.
There, you wanna give us your update?
Update, we're getting ready for summer. We did have an update on the coping around the pool, around both pools. We were trying to get a quote for getting that repaired, but we found out that it's there's water that's infiltrated the stone, and if they did repair it, it would just cause more damage later on. So the recommendation is to start working on quotes now for a future replacement of the coping, because it's unrepairable at this point. But it's not something we're going to try to do before this summer.
Is it Tomlinson or Apache?
Both, actually.
Okay.
As far as the rest of it, I think we're looking for 2 more staff, and we have 6 interviews scheduled this week. So we're going to be fully staffed by the end of this week. We're pretty much ready to go for summer. We've got a few minor things that we're working on at the pools. And then we have the slide proposal for you. I have talked to the company, and they are able to come in before Memorial Day to get that going if it is approved tonight.
Okay, Lisa, do you wanna go ahead and discuss that?
Actually, we'll let Mark discuss it, that's
Okay.
why we just flashed after.
Okay, it's in your packet, yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, so the proposal there is from Splashtacular, which is the company who installed the slide. We did reach out to Safe Slide Restoration both in January and again in February and March. Never received a response from them. We also reached out to Landmark Aquatics, and they had promised a proposal. They said they've done one in the past, but they couldn't put it together. And then they never got me a proposal, even though they've been out here and have been working on other stuff. So I did solicit 3 proposals. This is the one that we have.
Okay,
And this was budgeted during budget season. We had this proposal in front of us at that time.
okay, so do I have a motion to approve the proposal?
It's for 62,000?
Hold on real quick, 7A.
There's 3 items.
Yeah, there's A is 62,000. And then there's a 16,600.
We do not need to do the overhead tarp. We were able to get that repaired locally. So that one we don't need to do. We got it repaired for 150 instead of whatever the cost is on that proposal. And then the keep it new is That's a 5-year plan. That's at your discretion. That's not an urgent thing. It would be the first one that we need to approve, that we need to move forward on if we want to do that.
But Mark, real quick, that's the 16,645?
I'm sorry, I could barely hear you there.
I'm sorry.
I think it's the 62K.
Okay, so that's what I make sure. So it's a 62,995 where they're doing the work on the slide exteriors and interiors.
That's correct. That's to refinish the entire slide, or both slides.
And guys, I'm not eminently involved in this proposal, but what I do know is the TML inspection for years has shown that particular area needs some attention, so
Yeah.
I think this is probably a long time coming.
And we budgeted for it, so.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I will second.
And this is for both, for item
No,
A and
just-
C.
Because based on Mark's recommendation for A, and then I think they got B done locally.
Right, but I'm talking about C, which is the
Oh,
keep
the
it
C.
new.
I thought he said we could wait,
Mark, can you clarify on the keep it new item C for 16,645? Was that the item you suggested we defer?
That's correct. We can defer that to later on after the project's done, and then we can decide if we want to move forward with that for the future. Because this will completely refinish it, and then that is to keep the ongoing maintenance yearly to keep it new, keep it looking new every year.
And
will
then
it be the same price if we defer it?
I believe so.
Okay, if you could just double check that and let us know in April if we need to approve it sooner to.
Absolutely.
lock in that price.
And then also, if it's not the way, we'll just put it into the stuff you do when we pre-budget this.
Yeah, we definitely do.
But so my main motion is to approve A for 62,995.
Okay, second?
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that is 4 ayes and 1 no vote.
Mark,
Thank-
before you go, could you tell us how many Black House residents will be working for you at the Black House pools?
I'm not sure on the exact number of residents. I can definitely get that information for you. I apologize. I think you had asked me for that, and I messed up and forgot to get that information. But I will have that information. I'll send it to the subcommittee this week and let you know for sure next month in the public meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great, let's go on to priority landscape. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Do we have Clint on the phone?
I'm here. How are y'all this evening?
Hey, we're good.
Good. We are back to regular weekly service visits on the property. Grass is growing, weeds are growing, everything's starting to come back to life. So we are in full-blown spring landscape mode.
Fantastic. Okay, so I know we have a proposal, but it's under agenda item 12. Let's go ahead. It's change order number 5 from Priority Landscape for Tomlinson Playscape. You want to discuss that real quick? Clint, you want to cover that with us real quick?
I don't think we're making it a change order, right?
Well, we're not making a change order, it's a proposal directly with us,
Okay.
right? Was it the 2,000?
It's gonna be more than 2,000, it's a little bit more than 3,000. This is gonna cover the additional retaining wall that's needed out by a specific tree. We're gonna be moving a little bit of foliage around, and then also rearranging some irrigation, and then working on a couple of trees that have some grass currently around them that we're gonna remove. And then we're also going to be looking at possibly moving one into one of the trees, just to make sure that that's a safety mechanism that actually will prevent us from having to deal with electrical issues later on.
Okay, so it's under the 5,000 threshold, so the subcommittee will approve it. The one thing is, there are 2 trees that have PIP around it. And PIP is the pour in place, it's that rubber stuff, just, and that's inside the playscape. And we've been told that that actually can damage the trees because the water cannot get into it. So, Priority Landscapes is gonna pull up that PIP and put some mulch and, make sure, we might even do some extra watering.
Yeah.
For a period of time, so we don't jeopardize those trees. Okay, so that will be done before the playscape opens. Okay, great.
So 12C, we're gonna move to the subcommittee. Got it, okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll scratch that. Okay, thank you, Clint.
Thank you.
Andrew, Tyler, payment of bills and invoices, how are you?
All right, good. How are you guys?
Good.
All right, I'll go ahead and get started. We have bills and invoices. We have checks number 10453 through 10492. This includes the supplemental checks that I sent in the packet earlier this week. We also have checks out of the Capital Projects Fund, checks 3022 and 3024. For your fund transfers, we have your typical monthly tax transfers as well as your transfers over to your payment accounts in order to process bill payments. For investments, we're holding on to the same 3 CDs that we have been for the past few months. Money market rates are currently at 3.78, which we have 2 CDs that are higher than that currently, so that's good. And for taxes, we are at 96.74% collected. We're budgeting for 98%. We're expecting that last 2% to roll in over the next couple months.
Great, fantastic.
Hey, can I ask a comment question? Tyler, do you know where we're at on tax collections as a percentage at this time last year?
At this time last year, I can look it up really quickly and let you know.
Thank you.
Is it, Tyler, is that through February, the number you just quoted?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where were we through February last year?
No, it was in the,
I thought it was,
this year's end of January.
it's end of January for this year. What you just went over in the report?
Oh, it's end of January?
Okay,
Well, that's what we talked about
That's
at
what
the
we
committee
talked
meeting.
about, yeah.
Then let's cancel my question for now, Tyler.
Oh, so this is for specifically for the tax collections. I thought you guys were talking about the tax collections. So Amanda, what me and you were talking about was the actual versus budget comparison. That's in this report it's showing February, but I would like for it to show the month prior. That way it shows more information.
And we can look back next. I'm just curious, Ty. We can look back next meeting. So,
Okay.
Okay, good. Do I have a motion to approve payment of bills and invoices and fund transfers?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 4 ayes, 1 no vote. Anything from the Finance Audit Subcommittee?
Nothing past
Okay.
that, sorry.
All right, let's go to Crossroads. Ben is out ill or out, so
I'll do
Lisa.
Ben's report for him today. You'll be able to find it in your packet starting on page 83. There are no write-offs mentioned, no major issues. He did mention that in the report, you'll be able to see that the water loss is a little bit, reading a little different just because of Capital Hydrant coming out and doing their their hydrant survey. He will have some information on some hydrants that they did find that were leaking and additional maintenance costs that they're gonna be looking into, but he will bring that back to the board next month. And if you all have any questions for him, we will pass those along. I do want to mention that we are aware that there are still a few customer or resident meter reads that are being looked into, and we will bring that back next month to give residents some answers onto those meter read issues.
great, thank you. Just one thing, I will say the Amenities Subcommittee met with Ben and Lisa, and we did a walkthrough of the playscape. So the Parks gentleman is aware of the probably weekly maintenance that needs to be done. You know, the tassels down there needs to be blown, you know, leaves and such. And I will just go and mention this, we have some wasps because we have those, you know, little huts. So Lisa's already talked to Osborne, Pest Control, and they're gonna go out there next week and treat them. And we'll just keep an eye on that. It's probably just have to be some weekly or monthly during certain times of the year. We're gonna have to take care of that, but we are aware of it and we're taking care of it. Okay. Crystal and David Graves.
All right. All right, so we've really focused on Tomlinson this month, but I'll start off on general engineering. So we've been working with Sean's office on the easement vacation and haven't had a whole lot of action over the last month, but we are working with the developer and engaging with them as needed. Yeah, so hopefully we know more to come on that.
Yeah, just the quick update, just to refresh everyone's memory, the developer of the piece of land that is kind of across Old 183 going that way, the district has an easement that is put in place, that the Leander water supply used to come from the back of that neighborhood and come across and goes along 183, and the connection was made at the front of the neighborhood. They have been asked by TxDOT to get the easement released. We have confirmed to them that that line was likely conveyed to the city of Leander, even though the easement was granted in favor of Blockhouse. And so presumably that line is still Leander's. We don't know if it might still be used. So, we have let them know that we really need to get with the city of Leander. We invited the developer to take the lead on initiating those conversations, which they have.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Perfect, okay.
On Tumlinson, so we've been working hand in hand with the subcommittee, with Trent's office, as well as the contractor, and of course Lisa, and we've made a ton of progress this month. Just this week, we were out completing the final number 2 punch walk. We showed up with good list of items, the punch list, and by the end of it, we walked away with just a handful of outstanding items. So that was really positive, happening this week. Looking into next week, we are working with Trent's office to put together the closeout documents. So we will, work with him on that. Items such as the acceptance of the place down recommendation, and then TF Harper will be working on their end to put together all their closeout documents as well. Items such as maintenance and operation plan and that type of thing, and affidavit of all bills paid, which we have talked through. Let's see, I have a updated punch list, and I'll be distributing that to the full team as soon as Trent has had availability to review it. So hopefully that will go out tomorrow. We've also been updating the milestone schedule as well as the expenditures tracking, so we have that going every single month, and I can provide that. And in the packet, we have pay application number 9 from TF Harper in the amount of $52,136.98 for review and approval. This has been reviewed by Trent's office as well as our office. We did have comments on it, and they made revisions. Yep. So we have that for review and approval.
Okay, so before I ask for a motion to approve it, we did discuss this in executive, and I do want to share some things with the public. So this is pay app 9, as you stated, and the subcommittee is recommending. We asked them for unconditional waivers, and an unconditional waiver is a notarized document from any supplier or subcontractor stating they have been paid in full. We have one subcontractor, HR Mart, that actually had not been paid in full and did go back to the bond and request payment. Basically that puts the general contractor on notification they need to pay it. The bond did reach out to the general contractor, and they are in the process of paying it. But we have not received that unconditional waiver yet. So our recommendation is that we approve this payout number 9 for $52,000 change, with the condition that you do not release it until you have that unconditional waiver that the one subcontractor, HR Mart, who made the claim, has been paid. Okay, and just so everybody understands, in order to get an unconditional waiver, it's not just that they've had a check given to them, there's actually proof that the check has cleared, or ACH, so that we have proof that they have been paid. And I wanna just go over that a little bit more. We are a government entity, everybody understands that, this was bond money. We did the proper thing through the advice of our attorney, the engineers, designer, the whole team, that we have bond insurance. So if something happens, if none of the subcontractors are paid, we are not, the taxpayers are not out money, the MUD's not out money. This is an insured project. And if for some reason something happened, we're not expecting it to, the general contractor had to walk off and not finish the project, the bond group would come in and they would hire somebody to finish it. So that is the most appropriate and responsible thing that we did. And it's a little different that this one subcontractor hasn't been paid, but we're working through that, okay? Amanda, do you wanna add anything to that?
No, sounds good.
Okay, so with that, do I have a motion to pay the payout number 9 for $52,000 and change, with the condition that we do not release it until we have an unconditional waiver?
Motion.
Okay, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4 ayes, 1 no vote. Okay, as you mentioned.
Ursula, before you move on, will the check be sent back to my office for me to hold, or will it be held at the Walker House?
Probably should go to Chris.
Crystal, yeah,
take it.
Crystal will
Yeah,
take
I can
it.
handle it from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Crystal's gonna need to accept that, yeah.
Alright, sounds good.
So just a couple of, okay, thank you, great question though. A couple of things I just wanna talk about since we're here. Crystal put together this great document, it's 4 pages, you can get it, it's a public document if you want to, and basically every milestone. And I know there's frustration, with residents, it looks like this thing is done, but it still has fencing around it, why aren't we opening it? And I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with, 1, bond projects, 2, construction projects. You have to go through a punch list, and we have done that, actually I think we've done it 3 times now. And we're finding things and we're fixing them along the way. We also did a safety inspection, and we found a few things that we needed to do. Safety is our #1 priority. There is an ADA, thing that we need to fix with the sidewalks, we have 6 months to do that, so we're planning that. So it's not, I know residents are just walking by and seeing it and they're frustrated it's not open, but I want you all to understand that we are meeting daily, if not sometimes a couple of times a day, in person and on the phone, and we are working as quickly as we can through all these items, but we need to do it right. In addition, we do have this punch list, we did add a few more things, these should all be done by Friday, I believe, if the jail bars get in there. So with that said, we had planned a grand opening for a specific date. Through the advice of our attorney, we have been advised to let him look at a couple of details before we confirm that date. So we're not gonna go ahead and release that. I know we've talked to the OA, we've already got people teed up, and TF Harper's gonna be out there, and Wilco, and food trucks, and all kinds of really fun things for it. But we do need to make sure, and it's really on the insurance side, that we have the TML insurance, and if we have to have TF Harper insurance. So please be patient with us. We want this open as soon as possible, but we need to do it right. Okay? Amanda, did I forget anything?
No, the change order for the jail bars.
Okay, do I have approval for the change order for the jail bars? The jail bars are by the butter blocks. And if people don't know what the butter blocks are, they're this side of the playscape, and it's those limestone blocks. And right now, little ones can climb up the ramp, and they can go through there, there's some handles, and they can go down the butter blocks. During our inspection, it was advised that we either pull up all the concrete, so if somebody tumbled down, they would hit the PIP. We came up with another idea, we're gonna put jail bars in there, so people can't go in and out, it'll kind of look like a fort. And so that is a good way to get it in compliance, and the insurance will cover it, and it's safe for the little ones. And I know we've heard some feedback that they thought that was one area that may not be the safest. So with that, do I have approval on the change order?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's 4, and you go non-vote. Okay, anything else that we need to discuss on the playscape?
Just to reiterate what you had said, we will also have the certified playground safety inspector come back out and do a final inspection to make sure that everything that he had flagged has been taken care of. And then that way we'll have a final report that says that everything is in compliance.
One item that I didn't mention is, I heard the gentleman that came in and wanted to make sure we're opening it on time and making sure that we're staying within budget. We're at about 1.5. 1.5 includes all the labor, all the materials, building it, as well as the soft costs. Soft costs are our attorney, our engineer, our designer, and several change orders. We had a leak that Crossroads had to come in, and it was $38,000 change order. So there's some things that we just couldn't plan longer than it should have. We've had some additional costs with our engineer, our attorney, and our designer. We negotiated with TF Harper, our general contractor, and instead of a 1-year warranty, they're guaranteeing a 3-year warranty. And that includes sealing all the wood, which is not cheap, and it also includes sealing the PIP, which is the pour in place, which if you see it, a lot of it is covered there. So that was a great negotiation, and it lets us move forward and not have such a hard hit on the costs. Okay? Amanda or Crystal, anything else I forgot?
Nope, nothing else with the playscape.
Okay, any questions from the board?
No.
Okay, great, and then,
Just really quick, Crystal, you said that somebody's coming out with that final inspection.
Yes,
I didn't hear the date or the
he'll be out this week.
this week,
Should be,
excellent, thank
yes,
you.
absolutely should be. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it'll open this week.
No, no, but we have him penciled in for this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because part of it is once he signs off, then it goes to TML and they have to do their approval on everything.
And then we start the whole process.
Yeah, all the closing documents
Yes,
and all that, so it's not just as simple, it's done, open up and have a party. We've gotta do it correctly. Okay. I think that's D, so I think that's everything in Crystal.
One more item, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So Sean's office had reminded us that under the American Water Infrastructure Act, that Blockhouse has an ongoing risk resilience assessment as well as an emergency response plan that was put together by our office in 2020 or 2021, and it has to be renewed every 5 years. And so I have a proposal in the packet for us to renew, completely update both of the assessments, including all meetings that need to occur, and then be able to gain certification that we are in compliance as a community water system. So I have proposal number 260037 for completion of the certification and submittal to the EPA in the amount of $13,000 for review and approval as well.
Is there a timing set on this? Like,
Oh, yes, thank you, I left out one of the most important parts. Oh, the RRA, the Risk and Resilience Assessment is due on June 30th of this year, and then the ERP is actually due at the end of the year. So these can be staggered, we don't have to, of course, do both at
The
the same time.
13,000 includes both?
Exactly, yes, it does include both full assessments.
Okay, so how much is the first one?
I had split them evenly in
Okay.
between,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
My one question to the finance subcommittee is, do you recall if we put that in the budget last year, or
It's
were
not
we aware?
immediately jumping to my
I
mind.
don't remember.
This is probably not, because it's never a 5-year deal.
Right.
This is-
Yeah.
These are actually federal statutes that
Okay.
require this,
Yeah.
and not every water provider is required. It's if you have a certain amount of residents or consumers of your water. And I wanna say, Crystal, do you know?
It's 33, oh, were you asking, it's 3,300 residents is the trigger, the
Not too many
threshold.
months are subjected to it.
Right.
You guys just happen to be big and bad enough that you have to do it, so.
Yes, okay, so, before I make a motion, Lisa, would you make sure that since it's every 5 years that we have it in our?
Absolutely, I can tell you that I do know, and Tyler will be able to back this up whenever we get to our next quarter, our second quarter of following up on our budget, that I think that we will definitely find that there's room to be able to cover it, we'll be okay.
Okay.
Sure.
But we'll be prepared in the future for sure.
Okay,
Well,
go ahead.
Basically, do you have any concern if we wait on the other one?
No, I really don't.
Okay.
No, let's take care of the first one, yeah.
Well, you
If we
can
want
bill
to.
it as you go, right?
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
For what it's worth, if you
Okay.
wanna approve
We
the
could approve
proposal.
it now,
yeah.
and we won't start working on this, the second portion until we, make it to
So
the
that would
first
fall
one.
into our next budget year.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
okay, I just ask, so what happens if we decide not to do it? Just we can lay that out there for everybody, so we know, I think the answer is really bad, but let's lay it out so people know, so we're not just paying the consultants for doing work.
Right, we'll, receive a notice of being out of compliance, yeah, from the EPA, and most likely TCEQ will also be notified on that,
Yeah.
Are we still
Yeah.
in EPA department?
Yeah.
for the moment.
But so yeah, it's pretty bad, right? You don't wanna
Yes,
skip
yes.
these things, got it, yep, that's what
No,
I
it's
figured.
important,
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's
and I think it's probably really important to the residents as well. Okay, do I have a motion to approve, oh, go ahead.
Well, I have a motion. So I'd like to motion that we approve 12E, but we only move forward on the first one for now, and then after we reassess the budget, we can make sure we find spot for the second one later.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second,
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4 and 1 non-vote. Perfect, thank you so much for that. So I want to go ahead and go into 13B and C. That was a question that was brought up during citizens communication, and it's the graffiti. Those are some pretty big costs. And even the subcommittee today talked about, well, why don't we just get a volunteer team out there to do this? And Lisa, you got some more information today from Liquidity.
That's
Why
correct.
don't you share that? Because it's pretty important. This was our concern, because if you think about it, it's under a bridge. It's in our waterway, in our US waterway system. And even though it's pretty much a dry creek right now, we've all seen it when we've had heavy rains, that water actually touches the bottom of the bridge. So,
Right.
Lisa.
Right, so Megan with Quiddity did send over information to me, giving us some guidance in that regard, making sure that whenever the cleanup does take place, that cleanup methods shall ensure that any fine particles or water used to remove the graffiti needs to be properly removed from the area and not discharged into the downstream. They highly recommend utilizing a controlled substance such as socks or powder absorbent materials, and any sandblasting, that in the area, that it be contained on site with a tarp or wrapped and removed immediately. This is not something that they recommend that somebody that's not well versed in graffiti do. I know that the resident mentioned even having a graffiti wall is something that's definitely shied upon. Considering that this is a creek area that is well maintained, and looked over by, Quiddity and our MS4. So it's definitely something that this district just can't afford to have in the area, so.
Yeah, so, Amanda, any thoughts?
That's when I'm looking at these proposals, I know Crossroads had sent one in. I'm wondering if we can get, now that we have that scope and what they have to do, if we could revise some of these to make sure that we're achieving that.
Right, so
And
the,
not-
the only scope that definitely is close to achieving that is gonna be the Enviro, Clean Kong. Crossroads did reach out to them and did pull that proposal for us. That would not fall under Crossroads though, they wouldn't receive a markup for that's a straight cost to the district, but either or, we would definitely probably wanna go to Clean Kong and back to Enviro and ask them to meet those regulations and bring back a cost to us, again, expecting for it to be even more expensive.
I'm gonna ask a question too, I don't know who would be able to answer it, but is there any recourse to hold the individuals responsible for this payment?
I mean, you could try to sue them civilly.
But
So-
you have to sue in order for it to, okay.
So Newell?
Yeah,
Okay, Detective Newell called us last week before spring break. He has made contact with one or two of the individuals. And I don't wanna go into details on that, he needed to talk to two others, and it was spring break, so he was gonna go back and handle that. So I do think we need to follow up, and I don't know if we sue them, if we give them CTWs, but this is a significant issue.
Yeah.
And we do have proof that all four of them have been doing it for a while. So I think we still need to pursue it on that aspect, but I know we
I'd like to
don't,
understand
I'm not
that
done yet. We don't have, we don't have this in the budget. So, I think, I agree with Amanda that we need to go back and give them those details and get another, and maybe just do some more research. It's really expensive, but it does need to be taken care of. Cause it could be an environmental risk to have it, if we do have some rain. Because there's brush that I saw just recently. So, so is that okay if we table it, or?
Yeah, I mean, they need to be compliant, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's worth tabling. Maybe next week we have a discussion of status update where everything is, both criminally, and then Sean, if you might wanna give us an update on like how a civil would work if we need to recover costs. I have ideas, but I wanna hear from you, 'cause I think, I might be kinda wrong, but.
We've started a discussion on this, are we gonna go around the table when everybody gets a chance? I mean, we're at Amanda now, right?
Do you wanna say something?
Yeah, I do, I'll wait for my turn.
Should your turn now? I don't have anything to
Yeah,
do.
we're all
Okay.
set apart.
It was just mentioned that we have proof that one or two individuals did this. I've seen in the report today that there was 4 individuals. Originally, the report said it was 3 individuals. The neighbors believe it was 3 individuals. I don't really know what's going on, but what proof do we have that which individuals have done things? I understand that if 4 people have 2 spray paint cans, only 2 of them are gonna be guilty of this. And we don't necessarily know which 2 of the 4 they are, they're all gonna point their other direction. Do we have proof, video, photographic photos that show that individuals were participating in this? Or could it be that somebody was saying like, you guys are a bunch of idiots, you're gonna get caught, and don't involve me when you do? Like, I don't know what's going on. What can you share?
I don't know.
We can't share. This is an investigation and we're not at liberty to say.
So what proof do we have?
We're not at liberty to say.
It's under investigation,
Okay.
detective.
I can tell you that the graffiti under that bridge has been there well over a
I
year.
agree with you.
And
Some of it has.
we have been through an MS inspection since that was up there. So the paint is not necessarily causing any issue.
That's not true.
I don't, Okay, it is my turn at this point,
Continue,
and when it's your turn,
continue,
then,
Robert.
then you can share whatever you would like.
Do not raise your voice.
It is still my
Continue.
turn, it is
Continue.
still my turn. Zip.
Okay, I'll call order if you continue. Go on, finish.
I'm waiting for you to finish. You keep
You have
taking
the
last
floor.
word. I would really like to discuss this in a civilized manner, but with you jumping in, it's not being civilized, it's you chirping, and it's distracting from the points that I'm trying to make, and it is my turn. So, it has been there, it has been through MS4 inspections. I don't know that it is necessary for us to do a complete removal of everything that's under there. There are some vulgarities there. They appear to be fresh on other parts. There are parts that have been painted and repainted over the years, and some of it's kind of cool looking, right? Urban art or whatever it is. I would like us to consider painting over the vulgarities and then making some decisions. If we're gonna table this, let's get our parks guy, roll out some paint and paint over the vulgarities.
Okay, any other discussion? We have, bring that back with a little bit more detail on the information you got, and then we will continue on.
You know, kind of real quick, I think we have an update on that, it might be good, Sean, you can, get information. I think we could have an overview of the legal processes, both criminal and civil on this, so we can all have a good handle on where we are.
Yeah, we can, we just can't share details on the
Of course,
investigation.
but I think how it works, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, fantastic. All right, so that was 13A, B, and C. Let's go ahead and go to 13D, Lisa.
So last month I brought to you all an emergency call box that we'd like to install at the community garden for several reasons. And one of the items that was mentioned is, does it affect us in any positive or negative way through TML to have this item in the garden area, such as any credits to the district? TML did respond and mentioned that there are no credits, however, they would be happy to cover this item considering it would be something that would be of a benefit to the district. And so once it's installed, it would be included into the insurance policy.
Okay, and did you guys check?
Thank you for thinking that up, Lisa, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, good job. This isn't in the budget for this year, right? I mean, we didn't.
We actually do have the security budget, and so this is part of it.
Is that okay?
It does fall under that, yes ma'am.
Okay, all right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion?
Have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Are we gonna discuss?
We can discuss.
Yeah, you hold the vote, so, yeah.
Who's running the meeting?
Who do
Do you have
think's
anything to
running
say,
the meeting?
man?
Say it.
Are we gonna go around the table or
So
what?
Robert, every motion I've had tonight, we've gone straight to the voting. You don't vote and you don't hardly talk, so if you'd like to talk, the table's yours, go ahead.
I think this is an expense that is not going to get us any value. People need to have cell phones with them, people do have cell phones with them. We have Wi-Fi out there that we could put in there for $100 to where people could, phone with, if they're having cell reception issues. I just cannot foresee that community garden with the traffic that it's getting, and it has been increasing, that somebody's going to be there, and the only option they have is a call box. If somebody's coming at them with a scythe or let's say they're like, they don't have time to stop at a call box and say, please come and help me. They will have time to grab their phone and dial 911 as they're removing themselves from whatever situation. I don't know what situation we could possibly have down at that garden that we need a phone there, that we don't need a phone in this park, and we don't need a phone in the bike park, and we don't need a phone in Tonkawa, but we do need one at just that one space in this district.
So my understanding is it's not a phone, it's a button, and you push it, and then it immediately calls 911 for you. And Apache has one at the pool, Tumlison has one at this pool,
Yes.
and it's literally a button. You're not picking up the phone, you're not talking to anybody, they send somebody out as soon as that button is deployed.
Okay,
Correct.
so those were required for the pools?
Correct.
So we put those in.
Correct.
Is there any garden regulations that we need to have one of those like the pool has?
I'm looking at it a bigger picture, it's not just gardening, you
Right.
have rentals out there, you have the bees, you have Boy Scouts out there, there's more than just a garden out there.
You have a lot of users using it. Okay. Any more discussion?
No, so
Alright.
we call for a vote again.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
No,
okay, so that is 4 yeses and 1 no. Fantastic, thank you, everyone. PR, communications, we did have our communications subcommittee meeting, and, Lisa, what do you got?
Yeah, we are working on the April newsletter. We actually are implementing a rising resident that we would like to showcase, and so that'll be included, and anybody that wants to submit a resident that they think is doing an outstanding job in the community, we'd love to hear your feedback and love to showcase them and say thank yous. So we are going to be doing that in April, and we should have out the April newsletter by the 1st again, as we did for the March newsletter, and it is more interactive, it is on line, and we are now going past our 2-page limit, so we have a lot more information to share, and we're trying to really incorporate not just, resident information, but as much mud education as we can. So yeah, if you guys have anything additional you would like to see in the newsletter, we're happy to have it.
I think the newsletter's gotten better and better over time.
Thank you.
I will agree with that, you've done a really great job.
Thank you.
It's definitely improved.
It's really kind of fun to, when we're talking about, like, you're 3 steps ahead of us every time we talk about, like, hey, maybe we should do this or that, so thank you.
How are residents informing you guys of someone, are they just emailing you directly about a resident that they wanna highlight? Okay,
Yeah,
so there's
yeah.
no form or anything?
No form right now, it's something that we definitely will look at putting out on just social media as well as on the website. We'll advertise it a little bit more in the April newsletter to let people know how they can get in contact with us. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, Cam, so do we need to go ahead and go into executive for,
Briefly.
Not
Okay.
15, but 16.
okay,
For item,
okay, so we're gonna go ahead.
600 Selling Drive, we need some legal advice.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session for 16A, no decisions will be made, and we will be right back. we're back in a public meeting, no decisions were made. You guys have a report.
It's in the packet.
Sorry, we have a motion.
Well, we're on 15, right?
Oh, I
So
apologize.
we're on the reports, that was in the packet, so I don't think there's anything we need to add to
No.
that report, so, okay.
16A?
All right, we do have a motion on item 16A, which that item is pending or completed litigation relating, including the address of 15600 Stelling Drive. So I do have a motion I wanna make before the board on this one, that, we will not pursue litigation on that address at this time.
15006.
Yeah, 15006.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we wanna have any discussion real quick before we move forward?
Is there any discussion real quick? I just take that as a no. All in favor?
Aye.
That's 4 ayes, 1 no vote. Okay, professional services, TDS. Reports in the packet? Okay, 19, stormwater management.
I don't think we have anything specific this month on the MS4 stuff. I think Liquidity is doing their thing. and-
Yeah, and we already got the information.
Can I go back on 18 real quick?
Yes, you can.
I wanted to mention that we do have a bulk drop-off at Germano's scheduled for April the 18th.
Okay.
Residents have been given that social media information, and we'll include that in the newsletter.
Fantastic, thank you.
Have we made any progress on doing the pickup the day before and getting the trash to TDS? Is there anything going on with that? I thought we were considering
On curbside, or is that
the
Creek.
bulk,
The creek cleanup?
yeah, creek cleanup, getting that done maybe the day before.
So we're gonna have pre-cleanup on the 4th of April. We will have a staging area inside the Germano area. So that way when we do have the bulk drop-off, TDS will be able to pick up everything that was out there. So yes.
And there's a sign up for the creek cleanup,
Yes.
and we have leads that will handle each area.
Yeah, so I think we're in good shape on that.
Okay, nothing on that, okay, professional services subcommittee, you guys have a,
I don't think we had any report this time, Lee, in particular.
Nothing reports in the packet?
general manager. Oh, Lisa, real quick, did you, you just mentioned that you did some media on, the bulk pickup. Did you share with the did you share with the full board last month, that, the gentleman that was blind? Did you
Yes.
share that?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
My report is in the packet, thank you for mentioning that. My report is in the packet, I don't have anything additional to add unless you all have questions for me.
No, good job. There's some really exciting news about this, but we'll share it in April. Okay, we are going to legal, 22A. Order establishing rules and regulations governing recreational facilities related fees and charges. I will say the subcommittee has worked really hard on this. We worked with Cynthia Lovato, we worked with the general manager, we worked with Shauna. I understand that at the last full board meeting, you all were given a red line and asked to submit any more changes or edits. Lisa, did you receive any?
I received 3 board members' red lines.
Okay.
Those were included.
So I just have one question. I reviewed them. I think everything generally looks good. I just wanna make sure, I think we, on the curfew within the park, I
Yes.
think we originally changed the language, and we made one change to this, but I just wanna make sure that we have this right. So we have the curfew, I think this used to talk about hours, and now it talks about the curfew. So it says the curfew will be from dusk to 10 p.m.
Oh, did we?
I noticed that as well. I didn't understand what that means. Maybe I'm
I mean, it should be from dusk is at nighttime, right?
It
No,
is.
it should be from dawn.
Yeah,
to
it sunrises
10 p.m.
across
So I
off
think
of
it
the
should,
dusk,
well, it
so.
says the curfew though, so I think the hours
So it
will
would
be
be
from
10
dawn
PM
to
to
10
sunrise.
p.m. Okay, and I can change that.
And I don't know if you guys have
Or
noticed, but
dusk to sunrise.
maybe before you leave, check out the playscape. We have amazing lights out there, so it's.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Wait, hold on,
Yeah,
I'm
we have it
confused now, real quick, the hour's not being changed, but the curfew is gonna run from, what are we trying to accomplish? I'm confused what we're trying to actually get.
Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing but different ways here,
Yeah.
right? So we can either say that the hours are from dawn to 10 p.m. or the curfew is from 10 p.m.
Same thing,
till
isn't it?
dawn.
No,
Well,
It's the
curfew
reverse.
is a bit different.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, David Johnson, I didn't hear you.
so I said it's the reverse. So the curfew being from dusk to 10 PM is a couple hours.
Right.
It needs to be the other way around. It needs to be
So from
either
10
dusk to
Oh.
morning, or it needs to be 10 PM to morning, whatever it
So
is.
it should be 10 PM to dawn,
Dawn.
right?
Yes.
Okay, there we go,
There we
that's,
go, that's.
I was confused, okay, so.
Okay, that
Okay,
makes
so with
sense.
that change, I'm good.
Okay. Alright, that was the only question you had?
The
For
only
me.
other one I have is we have a specific prohibition about commercial activity in the parks. I know occasionally we have food trucks.
Yeah, so that actually, that's something that's been in there
Do we?
forever.
Yes.
And when we do food trucks, especially with the OA, they make sure that, Lisa checks to make sure they have the proper insurance.
Yeah, do we wanna just say unless approved by the board or general manager, or?
Yeah, that'd be fine. You just don't want somebody setting up shop and selling their wares
Yeah.
or something.
But we need to make sure it's not confused as that Lisa's gonna approve that. You know what I mean? So that people say, hey, Lisa, can I sell
She's saying,
computers in the park? I guess that's true, you could just say, okay,
Nobody
never mind.
will be able to really.
okay,
Right.
do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second. Second. Okay, Amanda second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, 4 ayes, 1 non-vote. Fantastic, that's really cool. So, what we're gonna have to do is publish those, record them, right? And then we'll probably need to update some of our signage and get it online. I do know that we had to update our signage for the new playscape, per
The
The safety
inspection,
inspection. Yes.
CSPI.
Yes.
So that will all be perfect.
So when does this actually take effect? Is it
Today.
as of today? April first?
This
I think so, yeah.
is April first, Sean?
It'll give us time to get it posted?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. In line with that, the security subcommittee, is working on doing a open house town hall with Deputy Lovato, maybe Boggs, on, the do's and don'ts of e-bikes, motorcycles, e-motorcycles, all that. You know, I talked to a lot of parents and they think that that would be really helpful, cause they don't understand. I know when you and Boggs and, unless Hebert or somebody else has pulled quite a few people over and has good conversations, he's basically said, I'm gonna impound it next time, you know, so, I think the best thing to do is really try to get out and talk to everyone, make sure they're all on the same page. Not everyone's gonna show up, but we can just attempt it.
And I know a lot of the parents, have actually just been lied to by the dealership saying that, oh yeah, you can ride them on the street.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think there's only one e-motorcycle out there right now that's actually street legal, that's not like a major Yamaha or
yeah,
Harley Davidson manufacturer. I think it's a Stark EV or something like that, that's the only one that's made right now that's street legal.
so we'll be working on that date and then communicating it, okay. Criminal trespass warning, so I know you guys discussed this a little bit last month when I wasn't here, do you wanna open it up for discussion?
Yes, I have a couple questions.
Let's do a motion and I'll get that, so I'll make a motion for discussion, David Johnson, are you seconding me?
Okay, so.
Okay, discussion.
So I have two questions. So one of them was, and I thought I saw this on the red line, and it might have just got missed, but, section 6.2 appeals process.
Uh-huh.
I thought we were gonna extend that to 30 days, or my other idea was not putting a limit on it, but it's at 5. That seems like a tight turnaround, considering we probably won't even meet between, you know what I mean?
That was changed.
That was changed.
Yeah, but
It's not on here.
Yeah, I don't think we should have a deadline on appeals.
I don't think so, because I was thinking of a number of situations, like if someone has an outburst at a park or whatever, and then several months later they do anger management or whatever.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
we wanna let it go, who cares if it's 7 months later
yes,
or
Yeah,
whatever.
no,
Yes.
agreed.
So that needs to be changed.
So maybe we just strike 2?
okay,
Or could I mean, unless, Sean, I'm missing something legal in there, but we could just take out the appeal deadline?
I think that's how I notated in my note too.
so it'd be it'd be number 2.
Yeah, strike that one.
Just completely remove it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right,
and then the other thing we had talked about was, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but perhaps considering that law enforcement could do some things on the spot and some things would come to us,
Mm-hmm.
depending on topic or severity maybe. Well, you weren't there, so I don't know, I'm looking at you, because you weren't there.
But help me understand.
So what we were talking about is that, you know, some things have an urgency to them, and some things don't have an urgency to them, right? But we still wanna issue a CTW
Mhm.
theoretically. So one thing we had discussed was maybe, that the law enforcement could issue some of the CTWs if they fall on a couple of different topics. which weren't discussed. And then if they aren't those topics, then they could come to the board, since they're not urgent. And that would kind of forestall the need for a appeals process anyway, because it comes to the board, you know?
So how do you feel about that? Cause I thought at one point you needed a director
We
or,
do, we,
yeah,
Oh, okay.
to do
yeah,
it, so.
we cannot issue a CTW on our behalf because it has to be an agent of the property.
Mhm.
So it has to be like Lisa, one of you guys, or,
Leah.
Rhea.
Rhea. Because, and I have them in the card, I'll get them for you guys so you guys can see them. It says agent of the property or something like that, we're not agents of the property.
Sure. I guess, just to confirm that, we probably couldn't say it's a pre-approved in these cases, would that probably not?
You actually have to sign it.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, then
because you
never
guys have to get a copy, they have to get a copy, we have to turn one into dispatch for a copy.
mind. Right,
So, because again, we cannot do that as far as we cannot make the decision
sure.
when we all have to
They
make
do.
the decision.
Okay. The other thing that was kind of discussed in case, of that, was, to basically give the subcommittee those same directives, right? To kind of, so that you all would know, whoever's on committee at the time, would know that the mud board has kind of pre-approved these CTWs without bringing it to the board. So if it's in these cases, and honestly, whatever you think would be the urgent ones that shouldn't wait, go ahead, and if, you know, we have your back, so to speak. And then if it's not those, and they're not urgent, they can come here.
So what's the list look like? So give me an example of
Well,
something.
I don't know, I would have to defer.
Well, I would say the one that
About
came
it.
from the discussion that I think would be proximate is, I think if people are committing like violence, like physical violence to others in the parks, right? I think that could be pretty imminent, right? You know, if we got people that are deciding that this is a great Woodlands, good place to get in a fist fight, right? Like having it be clear that, you know, the subcommittee has delegated authority from the board to issue a CTW, of having to come back for us the next meeting, you know, cause, you know, that could be someone getting hurt, it's not just vandalism or park rule violation, right? That seems like that could be kind of prominent to make sure they can't come back, right? People have a tendency to come back when they had a fight to renew hostilities.
Yep.
You know, and that's one of my concerns, right? You hear about people getting in fights or getting killed or injured because they got in a fight somewhere, left, thought about it, got madder, came back and like did it again, right? And so that was my biggest concern is that, you know, the park rules are important and the decorum in the park is important, but I feel like that somewhat precipitated this is people like deciding to assault each other. And I think that that's a different level of issue than just simply they wouldn't leave when asked, so they were playing music or driving an e-bike, right? You know, or they were smoking or something, right? Like those are not good, but for the most part, they're not potentially physically harming another resident or another person in the park. That's my
Yeah.
big
I
concern.
think it's really a case by case basis, and I'll give you some examples. We had one teenager that climbed up on the top of the slides, on top of the slide, and jumped into the pool. And he was issued a criminal trespass. That is a violation, right? But that's not a violence thing.
Correct.
But I think that that's severe enough that CTW could have been issued at that time. Another one was that recent with the dirt bike. That gentleman, he was issued one because they did basically get kind of in a physical altercation, but also he was riding a motorbike on our trails and he's been caught multiple times. So that is a violation of a park rule. It was, the deputy that was there said, dude, I've told you a couple of times, you can't do this. So I think, I guess, I don't know if there's just a real clean cut list for each side, but that the subcommittee could make a good judgment call. And if there's something, if somebody's caught smoking or cussing in the park, I wouldn't necessarily say issue a CTW, but I don't know if you'd even call us and say,
Probably not.
I mean, you guys are really making the first judgment call.
Yeah. But like with us, the majority of the time, it is going to be like some sort of assaultive offense. Like, if we think that, hey, we need to make sure that these people don't return, we'll most likely call them. And I would say like the ones for like 100%, I would say any type of assaultive offenses, rape, stuff like that. And then honestly, I would do drugs.
Yeah,
That is 100%.
Yeah.
We don't want you back in the park.
Well, and I guess the other reason I was somewhat maybe, you know, part of this you can't choose, you want to provide good guidance for the deputies, right? So when they're out dealing with someone that y'all have something to know that, okay, in this scenario, if this person's doing this, you know, I know that I'm gonna call someone on the board or Lisa and I'm gonna go to get approval, right? Other things that we have to discuss, you know, that may be a different animal, right? Where it's like, well, it's a violation of park rules, like, are they gonna do CTW, are they gonna do community service, are they gonna cover restitution, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of, I was like, I really was hoping we could try to figure out a way to kind of like give the deputies and the subcommittee and residents some bright lines to know if this happens and you're doing that, you're gonna get issued a CTW, right? You may get issued a CTW for other things, but there's a process for discussing and all that. That was kind of my thing, is I don't think it's helpful for us to, we need a policy, right? But any policy, wherever you do it, is gonna work best when everybody involved clearly knows what they can do. And that's my one concern. I wanna get everybody involved, you know, on the subcommittee, the deputies, residents, everybody involved, something that they can like work off of that gives them all some clarity on the spot.
Okay, so do you have a recommendation then?
You could, if I may.
Yeah, I know, please,
So-
I was gonna make her about like, when you're
Yeah,
doing.
you could expand it, I mean, we talked about violence last time, but it could just be safety issues, right? Riding bike on a crowded trail is not violent per se, but it's super dangerous, physically dangerous. I'm happy to include drugs, as Deputy Lovato suggested. The other thought process behind doing it is that way there's cover for the members of the committee that are doing it, so it's not just those two people decide, you know what I mean? It provides you top cover, or whoever it is in the future.
Breaking and entering, you know, we've had people break into the pools off
Yeah.
hours.
Well, that
the
was
water
dangerous,
house.
the one you described, that's
Yeah.
clearly.
Well, and it may be easy to say, you know, again, a bright line is, you know, if the parks are closed and someone's trespassing on the property, right? That's a pretty bright line, right? Parks close at 10. Hey, I'm here, you know, without any approval from anybody at like 11 o'clock and the deputies find you, right? That,
You would do a CTW then?
I'm using it as an
It shouldn't just be when it's
example.
closed.
Yeah.
But my point is like, something where we need bright line,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, see, like, some disc golfers, sometimes they're out there past 10.
And that's why I think
Yeah.
that the trespass part's a little bit
Yeah.
murkier, right?
Right.
But that's what I kind of bring it up is like, we need people to know if they're doing something.
To me, being in the pool is a safety issue though.
Yeah.
Right, it's
Yes.
supposed to be, if someone
Someone-
sits on the
someone
park at
gets injured in the
11,
draft, yeah.
please don't give them a CTW back,
Right.
if they're not doing anything else. But being in the pool is entirely separate.
Yeah, if they could drown and we would never have no idea they're there.
For example, a couple of years ago, we had, a friend of mine's daughter and son, they're having a tough day or tough evening, so they went to swing on the swings out here, and it was after dark, and one of you guys are called. And, you know, no, they just wanted to go blow off some steam and swing, and we're doing a CTW.
I'm not
A
saying
warning, the
that.
gate, park's closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think we would call you on that. We-
No.
Sure,
I
yeah,
actually
no.
I was gonna
never
say, you
would
very
call.
rarely, when you call, it's
Yeah.
legitimate reasons that
Yeah.
we're being called up here
Right.
to
Yeah.
handle things.
Yeah, you have a good point about the, maybe it's, you know, the issue is facilities like the pools and stuff, or the Walker House, where it's, you have to like I don't know, breaking in is the right word, but you have to basically get into the facility and it is closed, right? It's locked, you
Or
know.
destruction of property, I think would be one to
Mhm.
consider too. But usually when you see something, one of your deputies, you call Lisa first.
Mhm.
And then Lisa will contact the subcommittee and then we discuss it, and so,
One policy consideration, Deputy Lovato and I had talked prior to the meeting last month, and I think you did indicate, correct me if I'm wrong, there is an administrative process on your end after the CTW has been issued, so I think we want to avoid instances of issuing it and then pulling it back.
Yeah.
right,
I can't remember who I know I talked with you about it, but maybe it was you, Lisa, when you guys were talking about having to do some community service, and then as long as they completed that, then we won't issue one, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, make them show that they're sorry for it and that they're willing to make amends so they can start using the parks again. Because once we get it in the system, and then you guys wanna pull it out, then we pull it out, and then they do something again, and we have to put it back in, they keep pulling it out, put it back in, pull it back out.
yeah.
It's just, it gets kinda tedious work for them, not for me, so I was like, hey, dispatch, they want you to pull it out again. So, but yeah, having like something set up like that, and then also it teaches them responsibility.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the individuals that we have done that with have agreed and
Are you definitely
making
fine.
active steps to rectify their behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think there's always gonna be some gray there, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, I think maybe to know what you see. A question for you, in terms of the issuance, is it your perspective that it's best to do it when it occurs? Is it more of a hassle to have to go find the person 2, 3, 4 weeks later?
I mean, as long as we get them fully identified, we
Right.
can always
Yeah.
get them later. Cause we're gonna have them pre-filled out, and then once we find them, just get them signed it.
So I appreciate, you know, the thought process of trying to nail down all the things, but it almost seems like there might be
you know, a little bit of, you know, considerations of severity of the offense even within designated offenses. Yeah.
I'm particularly concerned about due process, and if we get 2 spray paint cans and there's graffiti going on and 4 people get a CTW, we will be taking away their liberty without a due process. They, at that moment, they are no longer welcome in our parks, and we're taking away their constitutional rights, right? So we should allow the criminal aspect of this to play out in the courts with the lawyers, with the judges, and everybody else that takes care of that stuff. There is so very little stuff that is legal that they really can't be handling park rules. That was quoted earlier, that they are not enforcing park rules, right? A park rule is you can't jump off of the slide or whatever, right? And now, perhaps there is a personal endangerment, you know, if somebody's getting suicidal, but then the law can take over at that point, right? We have had somebody break into here, but it happened once, and those guys have been on the run or through all sorts of other things. We haven't had to deal with them. The law's taking care of them, right? So I'm concerned that we are gonna start turning this board into a, you know, good resident, a bad resident. And I've also have firsthand experience of having something taken away from me, notably a key, where it was only supposed to last a few months and we're gonna give away the wood and then Robert can go back. But then I had a subcommittee where I needed to be in that fence and I still couldn't get it. I mentioned that to the board. The board is not responsible about restoring rights. I'm against this entirely. I think we should let the law take care of the criminals. And if we get to a point where somebody's disturbing somebody in the pool, maybe we start looking at just, let's have a board decision, not a single person on a subcommittee that says, okay, yes, I sign off on it. Because I do believe that Director Logan would have put a CTW on the lady that was out here cursing at contractors, right? We didn't need that. But that would have happened, and then the district would have been accountable for their loss of rights, because she would have walked into the park and we'd have to go tell some judge, well, she's criminal trespassing. I don't think we need to get into it. Let's let the police officers do their job and enforce laws. We don't need to add an extra layer to that.
So where do let's engage just for a minute. So where does the rights of our contractors do their job peaceably enter into this? Because they have a right to not get cut. I mean, you know, the people that we hire for the neighborhood, the other residents of the neighborhood, don't come out here in a free fire zone where our more, I'll just say more deranged residents decide to take their frustrations and anger out on them. Like, do they not have a right? This is, so basically we're gonna give a heckler's veto to people in the neighborhood that choose to be antisocial? If they wanna get in fistfights on the property, if they wanna use drugs? I mean, to your point about the criminal so there is no criminal process for our rules. We can have a discussion about criminal trespass on the rules. But if the people that are engaged in assaulting each other don't choose to press charges, there is no process for the DA or the county attorney to follow. But they still decided the property that belongs to everybody in the neighborhood was the right place to decide to engage in combat with each other. So basically, that people wanna be crazy in our parks and do things, then we just kinda throw our hands up like, well, sorry, you can't use it because they're over there having a fist fight.
District attorneys are the ones that decide to push charges or not.
That's not true. Not unless it's against the state. If it's against an individual, the individual has to press charges.
That's what I'm saying, cause like, if someone trespasses on our property, you're right, we can pursue trespass charges on them for breaking into the building, right? But if people do something to other residents, we are not a party to the suit to make sure charges are pressed by any side. But we, I think, do have a responsibility to make sure there's some level of people's ability to enjoy the parks in some relative peace, including for our people that our taxpayers' dollars goes to hire to do their jobs in peace as well.
If we get to that point, bring it to the full board and then let's decide. Let's not have a single member of the security subcommittee be able to sign off on a CTW.
That's not the case.
Well, hold on, then we talk about the appeals process, then why don't you make the appeals process automatic to the whole board?
How about they do press charges and they don't post bond, and there's a clause in there that says they must appeal it within 5 days of the
Well,
CTW.
that's what I'm saying, that point, is like, we're taking that out, I mean, to make you feel better, why don't we make there be an automatic provision that all CDWs that come up, it's not an application appeal, it automatically comes and we decide if we wanna deny it or not. Because that's what you're saying, if you're worried that we're not gonna go back because a person doesn't bother to apply, there's a process that's in all sorts of other areas of government. If you're worried the people involved, for whatever reason, are not able to, unwilling to, for whatever reason, can't do stuff, you can set up an automatic appeal process, we're gonna go back and review it. If that's what you want, we can find a way to work that in, and that would address your issue about the board never getting to heal back their rights. We could have a discussion in public about doing it. My point is that we need to give Deputy Lovato and the subcommittee and Lisa something they know and residents know. That I think it's fair to say that if you're engaged in assault, violence, drug use, or you're breaking into one of our neighborhood properties that is closed, the pools, the Walker House, the building at Jumano, that, yeah, you know you're gonna get issued a CTW. I don't think it's unfair to tell people, like, doing things that are either a crime against the district or other people, or the state gets them a.
Deputy Lovato could charge them with misdemeanors to felonies to whatever the charge is.
But if he chooses not to, we still have the ability, and I think the responsibility, to remove them.
This is the problem, is in the meantime, they're still gonna have the ability, like, they're not gonna get, they're not gonna get tried and adjudicated in 72 hours. It can take months, years sometimes for cases to work through, even serious ones.
It doesn't, that's why it doesn't make sense to me to be taking away their liberty in their parks until they've been convicted or not. If they're committing a crime, we can call the police can get it to stop, they can arrest them, and let the judges and Williamson County take care of the criminal aspects of that.
So Robert, I completely understand what you're saying, and I'm not about taking away anybody's rights or civil liberties. I completely agree with you on that. But at the same time, I think for certain things, at that time, I think something does need to be done. And, you know, if it's something that's that minor, that small, like the lady heckler, when we go to these subcommittee things and they ask my opinion, I'm gonna tell them the truth. I mean, it is freedom of speech. Is it right? No. Did she hurt anybody? No. Is it gonna make it a bigger deal than it really is? Probably. I wouldn't advise to do that.
So,
And they
So-
listen.
let me put another aspect into this. We have security patrols where we're paying you guys, and we also have times when you guys are not, and we call the police come to Williamson County. Will those police officers be handing out criminal trespass warnings?
If they're asked to.
Well, if they're asked to, but wouldn't they need to contact Lisa to the subcommittee and stuff like that? Is that a standard procedure for the non-patrol?
You have to have some sort of entity, and usually anytime someone calls, dispatch knows that I'm the contractor over this, and then dispatch calls me. And they're like, hey, this is what they got in Blockhouse, it's kind of severe. Do you have a number for a board member or the manager so where they can review video or find out who to contact so they can get video images?
And I'm always called.
Yeah,
No,
so,
you're-
and a lot of the detectives, they know Lisa
We're
very
never
well,
notified
and have
first.
phone numbers. So again, I understand what you're saying, and I get that you don't want this board or a couple of people to be judge and jury on a criminal trespass warrant. I get what you're saying. And I'm telling you that I wouldn't ever call and ask unless I think that it needs to be done. Now, again, if we meet, they ask me about it, they tell me what happened, I'm gonna be like, I don't really think that's a good idea, just let it go. If it happens 2 or 3 more times, yeah, maybe, because we need to.
So let's say we have 2 identical items that happen, two just borderlines. And you call it in and we get the CTW, and the same thing happens to somebody else, and that officer who is Williamson County, not under our security patrols, that happens, then they decide not to. How are we going to be sure that we're applying the same standards to everybody if we've got different entities? I understand Williamson County can handle that stuff because the judges all see all the cases and they can say, like, they have guidelines on what to do. But we're gonna come into a situation where the same thing happens. We give one of them a CTW and one of them, they don't have one.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, and again, because of what happened, with the motorcycle incident, they knew that we've been having issues, cause we've called the traffic union out here a couple of times to try and get them to help out with us. We put the sign up, and it's still an issue, so that's why when something happened, they called me and said, hey, look, there was an assault because of the e-bike situation, you know, I just wanna let you know, this is where we're at. And I was like, okay, well, let me call Lisa, let them know what's going on so they can make a final decision on it. So again, our deputies know that they're not gonna, for someone yelling and screaming, they're not gonna be like, oh, hey, call the law so we can criminal trespass them. They're not gonna care. It's gonna be for major issues.
Okay.
If I could have one thing, I think I've been with this district now, I think I'm in my 7th year. I think the first CTW was issued is the one you just referenced. So I don't think, and Robert, I think your concerns are well stated, and I understand where you're coming from, I understand where you're coming from. Is that, what I was trying to make, there's a lot of gray areas here, right? So, but I don't think this comes up, it's an important discussion, but I don't think it comes up too often. I think even prior to me, I think there were only.
One, honestly, that I can think of, and that was before I was on the board, yeah.
So if I may, the issue about, that you mentioned about treating different issues, or just similar issues differently would be rectified by Director Shoemaker's idea of an automatic appeal. So is there a motion on the table? I can't remember.
Well, I wanna make I think we need a motion to discuss. I've got a motion to make 2 amendments based on the discussion right now.
Okay, go
I don't
ahead.
have language, but I'll make a motion. I think we should amend item 4.1 to add a section that says, and I'm gonna try to dictate this, Sean, I apologize. Individuals who violate district rules shall be issued a CTW if they are arrested for assault, drug use, and here's, I'm not sure I'm gonna phrase this right, essentially breaking into closed district property. I'm thinking of the pools, the Walker House, the Jumano building, anything that is locked to the public when it's closed. Both protect the district's interest in its property and to protect their interest in not hurting themselves or others. So that'd be my one thing, is I think we should have a very clear line of, that if they get picked up for that, we can tell the deputies and the subcommittee, CTW shall be issued in those scenarios.
Can we add damage? And the example I'm thinking of is that the Apache, we had kids sitting in the parking lot with guns breaking windows at Apache.
I would say that's
Yeah,
dangerous.
The airsoft guns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
And
were
they
arrested.
were, yeah, they were,
I believe one of them was arrested.
I hadn't thought that far about damage and how we phrase that right.
well, damage to district property, severe damage to, you know, and we're not talking about a little chalk paint.
Cause we filed that with
Yeah,
insurance.
that's my problem. I'm trying to get like very bright line, like,
I think
what's
damage
made-
to district property.
I think it's important, but I guess for the purpose of moving on tonight,
Felony criminal mischief.
Okay.
That's a lot of damage.
okay, if you're arrested for felony criminal mischief, right? Because I'm trying to get things that you guys are actually making arrests for, someone go, I'm arresting them for this, and they would know, right? Because you guys are gonna fill out in the report what they've been arrested for, right? So that way you guys don't have to go, well, I don't know if this arrest counts. I want, so, and Sean, maybe you can work with Deputy Law to make sure we get the, but I wanna give you guys very clear things when you're arresting someone, you go, that checks the box.
But they're not always arrested. And I think they should sometimes be able to issue a CTW even if they're not arrested. For example, the
Well-
guy on the dirt bike.
Yeah,
It's
well,
still
I'm
in there.
I'm
He's
not
just
saying
saying
getting
shall
rid of,
if
I'm
they're
not
arrested.
getting rid of the first part of one, I'm
Okay,
saying
I got you.
add
Add an
an
additional,
addition, which
this is an
there is
automatic.
a subset of
Perfect.
shalls that are very clear that rely on.
I've got drugs, assault, or felony criminal mischief, because I think that encompasses.
Would that cover the trespassing, breaking,
Yes.
entering? Okay. Second thing I wanna add in my motion is down in 2 to strike existing 2. And Sean, I don't know how to exactly word this either, but basically, the appeal to the board triggers automatically
6-2, right?
6-2. I don't know how to phrase it exactly, we may have to come back and adjust once we have final language, but let's just trigger an automatic appeal to the board.
Yep.
So that way, if someone gets one of these, there's no question of the board failing to take it up, it gets put on the agenda for whatever, I don't know how the timing works, but
The
We
next,
could just have a
board meeting if
standing,
possible.
yeah. or-
or the
Yeah.
next one,
Yeah, it could be the day before the next board
and
meeting.
hopefully
yeah.
Sean's
Yeah.
right, and this doesn't come up again for 3 or 4.
Yeah.
hopefully not, but I'm trying to set up a process, if it does come up, people got due process, people know there are certain things that are just beyond the pale.
And so the agenda will always have that one standing line item.
Yeah. Sounds
And
good.
maybe empty.
It may be
Hopefully,
empty.
probably.
Yeah. Right.
Sean, is this functional drafting instructions or what?
I wanna make sure I'm tracking with you here, so I think we, just to make sure, under 6.2, we're gonna remove that, the timing considerations related to submitting an appeal. What I thought we were talking about earlier was that if a CTW is issued that wasn't specifically approved by the entirety of the board, there would be an automatic review of that.
Well, I mean,
Were you saying all of them?
I could live with all of it and make people feel better, because I think honestly, like, the things that are in the shallow issue here, they're pretty bad. So honestly, I'm fine with them to go for all.
Yeah.
We can let everybody have their day.
Agreed.
Call a ratification of any
Yes.
issued CTW.
If that's how you gotta phrase it, yes. Not trying to make more work for you guys, but, you know, gotta have some due process here.
I'm not thinking of the computer system,
So that's my motion, to amend the rules and
So I have
that.
a second to the amended, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
No.
and one no. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, second.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone against? 4-0.
I might have